evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Oman Investment Authority announces the launch of the Energy Transition Investment Fund between Future Fund Oman and the Chinese company Temple Water. The total loans provided by the Oman Housing Bank since its establishment exceed 2 billion Omani riyals. And Israel ramps up strikes on Gaza City, killing at least 32 people, while urging the remaining Palestinians to move south to what it's calling a humanitarian zone. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Oman Investment Authority announced the launch of the Energy Transition Investment Fund between Future Fund Oman and the Chinese company Temple Water on the sidelines of its participation in the 10th session of the Belt and Road Global Summit held in Hong Kong. The joint fund will be launched with a seed capital of approximately 77 million Omani riyals to accelerate the energy transition in the Sultanate of Oman and support economic diversification, with a focus on investing in promising sectors, including clean electricity, clean fuels, energy storage, and others. The fund's investments will be directed towards 5 to 10 projects over its 5-year investment period, with an additional 5-year retention period. A number of these projects are currently being studied in advanced stages of technical and financial evaluation. Since the beginning of 2024 until the middle of this year, Oman Housing Bank has created opportunity by enabling more than 9,000 Omani families to obtain their homes and approved housing financing exceeding 423 million Omani riyals in total. Since its establishment in 1977, the Oman Housing Bank has enabled more than 75,000 families to obtain subsidized housing loans with a total value exceeding 2 billion and 100 million Omani riyals. Oman airports will launch direct flights linking the Sultanate of Oman and the People's Republic of China on November 30th. The new route will operate 2 flights per week on Sundays and Wednesdays, enhancing air connectivity and meeting the needs of travelers of various categories. It will also contribute to supporting the tourism and investment sectors and strengthening the Sultanate of Oman's position as a major regional hub for aviation and logistics services. Oman Air has been awarded the 2026 Apex World Class Airline Rating, the highest accolade in the aviation industry, by the Airline Passenger Experience Association. Oman Air clarified that winning the global award for the 2nd consecutive year confirms the company's ongoing commitment to providing a travel experience with the highest standards of service excellence, in addition to the fact that Oman Air is among the most highly regarded airlines in the world. Domestic liquidity in the Sultanate of Oman rose by 5.6%, reaching 25.4 billion riyals by the end of June, an increase of around 1.3 billion riyals compared to last year. Data from the National Center for Statistics and Information showed that total loans and financing provided by commercial banks and Islamic outlets grew by 8.4%, exceeding 34.6 billion riyals. Private sector deposits also advanced by nearly 6% to stand at 21.9 billion riyals, while net foreign assets climbed by more than 4% to reach 7.3 billion riyals. At the same time, the average interest rate on loans edged down slightly, signaling both stronger lending activity and improved liquidity in the banking sector. Still to come in our news bulletin. Muscat to host the Ironman 70.3 World Championship in 2029. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A barrage of airstrikes killed at least 32 people across Gaza City as Israel ramps up its offensive there and urges Palestinians to evacuate. Shifa Hospital medical staff reported today that the dead included 12 children whose bodies were brought in. Health officials said that one of the strikes overnight and into early morning today hit a house in the Sheikh Radwan neighborhood, killing a family of 10, including a mother and her 3 children. Meanwhile, in a message on social media today, Israel's army told the remaining Palestinians in Gaza City to leave immediately and move south to what it's calling a humanitarian zone. The United Nations, however, put the number of people who have left at around 100,000 between mid-August and mid-September. The UN and aid groups have warned that displacing hundreds of thousands of people will aggravate the dire humanitarian crisis. And in the West Bank, a Palestinian was shot and wounded by Israeli forces at the western entrance to Tulkarm refugee camp in the northern West Bank. The Palestinian news agency said the occupation forces continue their aggression on the city of Tulkarm and its 2 camps amid daily raids, siege, and strict military measures, preventing Palestinians from entering the Tulkarm and Nur Shams camps and targeting them with live ammunition. It pointed out that the city of Tulkarm and its suburbs witnessed a military escalation in the past 2 days through a curfew, raids on homes and residential buildings, and launching a wide-scale arrest campaign against hundreds of Palestinians. Russian forces continue their advances on the battlefronts in eastern Ukraine, taking control of 2 new towns in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Military observers said fighting has intensified around Kupiansk in eastern Kharkiv after Russian troops reportedly infiltrated the frontline town through an underground tunnel. Kupiansk is a strategically important transportation hub on the Oskil River, which serves as a natural barrier against advancing forces. Reports indicate Russian units have already managed to cross the river at certain points, tightening pressure on the Ukrainian defenses in the area. In Zanzibar, the Omani delegation advanced its investment mission, exploring opportunities in key sectors and highlighting the strategic roles of Duqm and Zanzibar in boosting trade and cooperation. More details coming up.
In Zanzibar, the footsteps of the Omani delegation continue as part of its investments mission to Tanzania. The program featured a series of meetings and consultations with officials and investors in an atmosphere that reflected the determination of both sides to explore new opportunities for cooperation and strengthen economic partnerships, steps that would expand Oman's presence across East Africa's markets. The visit also included presentations by specialized institutions in Zanzibar on available investment opportunities and incentives, along with a showcase of the Duqm Special Economic Zone, highlighting the strategic advantages it offers to international investors.
We have been to Zanzibar and we were meeting several investors. It was a chance for Special Economic Zone to show the opportunities we have it, as well what the incentives we will give it to the investors. We will have several meetings with the investors who show interest to invest in Special Economic Zone. As they promised, they will have a special trip coming to Duqm itself.
Discussions centered on boosting investments in tourism, energy, agriculture and manufacturing industries, with an emphasis on leveraging the strategic positioning of Zanzibar and Duqm to increase trade flows and attract fresh capital that will drive economic growth in both nations.
The relationship, historical relationship between our brothers from Oman and Zanzibar is huge. So this is not just the beginning, but it's a very good start to make sure that our 2 countries enjoy this bilateral relationship, but also brotherly relationship, but also the business areas, because we need to make sure that the opportunities what we have here, the resources that we have here in Zanzibar, can be utilized to impact in our economic growth.
The mission concluded with direct bilateral meetings between Omani business leaders and senior officials from Tanzania's Ministry of Energy, exploring avenues of future cooperation and joint ventures. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television.
The Sultanate of Oman is set to become a global hotspot for adventure and sports tourism. The Ministry of Heritage and Tourism has signed a major partnership with the International Ironman Group, bringing world-class endurance events to the Sultanate of Oman. More details coming up.
The Ministry of Heritage and Tourism has signed a major partnership with the International Ironman Group to position the Sultanate of Oman as a leading global destination for adventure tourism and sporting events. As part of the deal, Muscat will host the Ironman 70.3 World Championship in 2029, the first Middle Eastern city to stage the event. Beginning in December 2026, Oman will also hold the region's first full-distance Ironman race to be staged annually. The ministry has acquired the official naming rights for the Ironman Pro Series starting in 2026, enhancing Oman's presence at international championships. At the same time, the Ironman 70.3 Muscat race will become the official Middle East Regional Championship, further consolidating the capital's reputation as a hub for endurance sports. This milestone builds on Oman's track record with Ironman races since 2018 and supports the objectives of Oman Vision 2040, which focuses on diversifying income and strengthening global presence. By hosting these events, Oman aims to boost tourism investment, attract athletes from across the world, and cement its place as one of the region's leading centers for sports tourism.
This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here's a recap of our main headlines. Oman Investment Authority announces the launch of the Energy Transition Investment Fund between Future Fund Oman and the Chinese company Temple Water. The total loans provided by the Oman Housing Bank since its establishment exceed 2 billion Omani riyals. And Israel ramps up strikes on Gaza City, killing at least 32 people, while urging the remaining Palestinians to move south to what it's calling a humanitarian zone. With that, we wrap up tonight's bulletin. For more updates, catch us on our next broadcast. Thank you for watching, and until next time.